Reverend Loxley O'Connor and the district CDC. Is Reverend O'Connor here? Okay, give him a hand. And the CDC Board, if you want to join him, you may. All right, good morning, sir. How are you? Please, Jesus. All right, come on.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters.
Good morning. Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, please come back to your seats and get ready to hear this report. Thank you.
Good morning, 2nd District. As always, it's a pleasure to stand with this awesome group of servants who serve at your pleasure on the CDC Board. We're here as Bishop has requested, as really you have requested, that we would come to this planning meeting and present our plans for the CDC, overview that with you, and get your buy-in consent to the plan of operations for the CDC for the rest of what is really this year into next year. Can you hear me? Okay. And so I really have a discussion agenda and a PowerPoint that our board has prepared for our discussion today. Our discussion really will cover really what is the budget for the CDC, really how that budget was put together, so kind of overview for you, our revenue projections, what we're going to spend money on, our reserve for capital, reserves going into the year, and our new operation, the impact office, and the programs that are going on and planned for us to execute, and then finally a discussion of the proposed assessment, proposed contribution towards general assessments that the board is prepared to do for this year, and really give you a sense as to where we expect we'll be able to go over the next several years, if you're interested. So with that said, if that PowerPoint can come up, let me say to you that we are looking at a year ahead where, in total, by 2024 is over, we will have raised as a CDC a little over $1 million. Now, that $1 million is composed of, has two components to it, and so we're going to discuss this accordingly. The first component is made up of rents, just over $516,000, and this reflects pretty much an 8% overall increase in base rentals, as well as a growth in additional space of occupancy. So we're just about, at this point, 90% occupied. So despite all of the aspects and impact of COVID and organizations being impacted negatively, we have, as we have repeatedly said, a very strong, diverse group of minority, black, woman-owned businesses that operate and use our building as their base of operations, including one of the nation's largest minority-owned banking organization in terms of industrial bank. So we have a really wonderful tenant base, and we've made efforts to make sure that we serve them in a very positive and extensive way. Real estate committee has worked hard to stabilize our operations, and so now operating expenses are really in check. And so for the 2024, this calendar year, when it's all said and done, we'll have generated out of our rental operations about $175,000 in net operating income. Right? We're proposing to hold, and we'll discuss what are the components of it? About $100,000 will be used this year to cover some deferred maintenance items. I'll cover that real quickly. And then as it relates to going into the year, we will then, the second portion of our revenues will be made of revenues that will come from grants that we have received, and of which most of those monies are now in our bank account. So we have received, we've been awarded 3 grants totaling $489,000 for this year. We have already received $440,000 of those grants, and I will share what are the kinds of programs that will be covered in those grants. Along with that, but for the year between now and the end of the year, we'll spend out of those grant proceeds an estimate of about $250,000 in terms of actual programs we'll be able to get done. As I said, I'll go into more detail, but because I'm one of those presenters who believe we should tell you what I'm going to tell you, and they come back and tell you, I'm going to tell you now that we're proposing that by the time this is all for this year, we will issue checks totaling $75,000 to the 2nd District to offset general assessments for our local churches. Unrestricted cash when we end the year will at least.
Now, just wait 1 second. I know this isn't polite. I know it is. But I'm just so excited about $75,000.
I had a chance to see what the projected general budget is going to be. And $75,000 sounds good. And I just thought somebody else might get excited too. So
I thought so too, Bishop, but so we'll end with $50,000 of unrestricted cash, and we'll have another $200,000+ of restricted cash for operations. The next slide, as I said, the very next slide shows you the breakout, as I indicated, of the types of revenues and how it breaks into the 2 components. The next slide then real quickly shows you the general budget for the operation of our rental operations, the gross rents, what makes it up. As I said, we're at just about 90% occupancy. We have 2 suites that are still to be leased. We are working on that. We have some good opportunities. And we're even looking at using our roof for some telecommunications opportunities that are there. So that too will be an opportunity. Operating expenses, you see the number. In short, we're spending $12,000 monthly to operate our building, right? That effectively means as long as we remain just about 50% occupied, we're good. I said we're at 90%, right? So I want you to understand that we are clear on our targets and where we need to be in terms of operating and keeping our operations going as a vital key component now of the 2nd District and what we're about and how we do ministry, okay? So that's that part. When you go to the next slide, operating expenses, the bulk of it, really the cleaning, the facility costs, the operation, that kind of stuff, and then you've got the utility bills as the owner, and that we cover, the insurance and taxes that we pay. We've actually used the company, and we've just gotten, it was hard to negotiate it, but we just got a credit back on the amount of taxes we're paying for the property, because we insisted, to say they were charging us too much. And so the real estate committee was able to knock that out, and we got some credit, property management fees. And just because we are who we are, we're looking into next year as we begin now after 5 years of ownership and operation that we're gonna, go out and look at all of our contracts that we have and revisit to make sure that we're getting the best rates on everything. And that everything that we can in fact do to minority-owned business, enter with minority-owned business, those opportunities are extended to these organizations. So that's where we are in terms of operating expenses. Our capital expenditures really has, there are two major deferred expenditures from the time of ownership of this property that we've been working through. It's the HVAC system and our roof. We on a very current basis at a contractor who is a steward at Reed Temple. So someone who knows us, that we've worked with both personally and business-wise. So it's someone well known to us, and he's walked the roof with us, giving us the estimates of what will be needed and the time frame that will be needed. So we have that in our budget. We've already replaced one unit this year. We just ordered that the second unit be replaced. So that work is now being done. And we have a third unit that we have our eyes on, and as long as it gets us through the summer, we're good. And certainly we can easily pick that up in the next year's budget. So that's what really makes up the 100,000 of capital expenditures that are anticipated going forward. So there's a specific work that has been done to come up with our deferred maintenance budget or capital expenditure budget. As it relates to the community impact operations, much of what we're doing is related to two major districts in Prince George's County. The council member Water, council member boroughs. District 8 is the one that is located with all of the work is required within a 6-mile radius of the casino that is there in Prince George's County. We have a $340,000 grant that has been received. It's in our coffers. Come tomorrow, we are having one of our first community-based activity out of our impact office, where we will be giving away security cameras for the seniors. So we're going to give away cameras out of our district, out of our community impact office in District 6, which is where our building is located. We have 87 cameras. We're going to see what the response is like as to whether or not we will acquire more, but that's the plan for tomorrow itself. Then we have $149,300. That's for District 8. We're getting ready to meet with the council member's office as we want to kick off the program as it relates to rental assistance with one of our Reverend Pastor, let me not comment, but we've already agreed with one of our pastors, and we're going to supplement the program that he does in his church by giving them a sub-grant out of the money we've gotten towards their program. And this is the kind of relationships we're looking to do, to use local churches in our Zion, but we're not limited to our Zion. So if you may hear someday that they gave a Baptist church some money, it's okay. We're just serving the people of God. We're all part of it. All right? But we've been given money to make sure that the needs of our community are met. Let me share with you some of the programs that are involved and the funding, what the funding is for. In District 6, we're going to fund rental assistance. We're providing rental assistance grants to up to $125,000. We're going to do community events, health screenings, and the like. We're going to have a youth leadership and scholarship program that's going to be going on. All right. I got 2 more seconds. All right. So we got that going on. We've got a special appropriations that's just coming through. And in all of this, at the end of the day, out of all these grants, we ourselves will get, for our services will be reimbursed for both in terms of space and administrative and other costs of tune of about $90,000 that comes directly to our costs. Right? So with that said, then we come to the final, and it said, the Lord being good and his mercies everlasting, and praise God for all the blessings that he bestows upon us. We're then prepared to provide $15,000 per district as part of our second Episcopal District conference, per conference, equally to all, an amount that totals $75,000. And the only thing, and so people know. So when we were discussing this at the board, the question that was asked, well, have you discussed this with the bishop? That was the first question. And I said, well, one of the wonderful things about having been working with Bishop over the last 5 years as a board is that he has stepped and allowed us the discretion to govern. Right? And so we're in a manner that we have been allowed to do what we really thought as a board representing you, that we thought was best. And so we've not discussed this number with Bishop, so you know, okay? This is the proposal of this board as to what we are and are prepared to do, willing to do, with the consent of our second district membership, who we represent, both clergy and lay. And that's where we are, and this is how we come today. This is our proposal, and what does the second district?
Put your hands together for a wonderful report. Before I allow you to say what you say, let me say what I say.
Say.
The idea of how the money is to be dispersed, or even though the bishop doesn't have anything to do with that, but certainly we know where you have promised to place it, that it's only for one purpose, and that is the reduction of the assessment of the general budget, only one place. Secondly, I think that there needs to be some consultation with the leadership of the district to talk about where it is best placed, because that's how it got started. It got started with the leadership of the district talking about where it's best placed, because some places are weaker than other places. Right. And so you cannot I would not think you would want to make a general statement that merely says you isolate the resources to equally across the board, because the need is not equal across the board. There are places within the district, even though we all work equally in terms of our level of sacrifice, would be that which God respects. But the reality of it is there are some places in the Episcopal District that personnel is impossible to find in certain areas. And when you don't have personnel, the ministries decline. You know what I'm saying? Yes. If I can't put a pastor, if I have an absentee pastor of 6 pastors in a particular presiding over the district, then I can almost assure you from experience that presiding over the district is in far more trouble than the capital district. You understand what I'm saying? And so there has to be some consultation with the leadership of the district in terms of, I don't think the board should take that authority upon itself, because the board does not know what the leadership knows about need. Right? And the only thing I'm saying, I commend the board, because Lord knows I'm happy to hear what they have to say, because I'm one of those persons who's been pressing pushing the envelope all the time. Don't forget about why you were born. Don't forget why you were born. Don't forget why you were born. Don't forget about why you were born. And so to hear the board say that they have come to a conclusion of $75,000, I could kiss every woman on the board. You know, I could. Every woman on the board I could kiss. You know, and still be a man who's happily married. You know, but you do understand what I'm saying. Does that not seem rational or logical to you? Okay. And so now you can express what you want to express to the board. Give us your pleasure on the board's report.
Bishop. My name is Kathy Austin Purdy.
Somebody take this mic to her.
Kathy Austin. Sister Reverend. Sister.
Thank you. Bishop, I and Kathy Austin, currently pastor of Oak Chapel in Galatians in North Carolina Conference, and I offer a motion that we receive the report of the CDC and and accept their proposal to provide $75,000 to the Episcopal District to be dispersed among the annual conferences after consultation with the Episcopal leadership.
Is there a second? Let me get the second. If there's an unreadiness, I'll get a bill with unreadiness later. If yours is unreadiness, then
Second.
if it's an unreadiness,
Not an unreadiness.
okay, go ahead then.
As a founding member of the board, first I'd like to express appreciation to the board for the hard work of the board.
Who is the second?
Second motion.
All right. Now, are they unreadiness? If you have an unreadiness, then please state unreadiness.
We have no unreadiness.
All right, next. Who has unreadiness?
Who was the second, Bishop? Who was the second?
Wade was the.
I didn't hear you.
Who was the second?
It was seconded by Reverend Wade. I see, is that Reverend Joseph Perry?
Yes.
Okay, I saw him first under the unreadiness. Come on, please. Please bring the mic over here, please. These unreadiness to the motion now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Bishop, my unreadiness is that the motion be in proportion to the need, according to the 75,000 be proportionate to the need.
Well, I think that couched in the spirit of the motion was after consultation with leadership, which the whole idea of moving the leadership motion was to say in proportion to need. Is that not the spirit of the motion, Reverend Kearney? All right.
Just to say, I concur with what Brother said, because I was a little concerned that we weren't, that more or less the next time there's a consideration and possibly there's some independent committee to determine where the money should go, because it would be nice to have it proportionate to that particular area.
All right, so that's not an unreadiness, y'all. That's just another comment.
Yes.
And right now, because we are in a hurry to try to get through, because they're going to be calling for us in just a second. If there is unreadiness, please state your unreadiness. Whoever has an unreadiness. It has been properly moved and seconded that the motion is accepted. All those in favor, and the motion itself was to accept the report of the CDC and the gift of $75,000. I'm not sure I'll be calling it a gift. You know, the insertion of $75,000 from the CDC into the district for the purpose of the general budget and the distribution thereof to be cleared through the leadership of the district. You've heard the motion. All those in favor, let the number say aye. Opposers, nay. Ayes have it, and so ordered. Thank you so very much. God bless. Give the CDC a hand. Reverend Dr. Carolyn Carter.